This is Social Realities with Dr. Med. Now, let's get it cracking as we talk about the Real Housewives of New York City. I am just going to begin the conversation. This will not be my full review of the show, but there's something that's just been burning in the pit of my stomach that I feel is important to say. This season has been extremely triggering for me. Watching these particular women, specifically watching them struggle with mommy issues, issues getting along with women, the ability to stand in what you say, what you mean, um, how easily these women are triggered by things that are said and done. And this is not, let me be clear, this is not in regards to Brent, because what she has experienced, that kind of trauma takes a long time to really heal, resolve, if ever. But I feel like, as a person who has had experience working with victims of SA, working with victims of R, working with victims of domestic violence, working with you know uh, young Black women who struggle with issues of self-esteem and issues of worth, I have to say this. One of the things we're going to have to learn as Black women and the people in general is that your triggers can't be somebody else's problem. And I'm not talking about the essay. I'm not talking about all the other stuff. What I'm talking about is there comes a point in your life as an adult where you have to deal with your own healing process. The word says we got to work it out with fear and trembling, right? You got to work out your own salvation. It's the same thing about your mental health. You have to decide that you want to be whole. You have to decide that you want to be healed. And if you have the resources to do it, you really should work towards that goal. I was married and got divorced, and I understood all of the mistakes that I made in my marriage. Fully understand, fully take responsibility for going into a situation. I was in my 30s. I was still dealing with abandonment issues, anxiety, depression, all this other kind of stuff. And I brought that with me to the marriage. And it wasn't his responsibility to figure out where all the landmines were in my mind. And so I encourage, especially Black women, we are easily and forever triggered. As long as we're on this earth and we possess this chocolate body, we will be triggered. People will come for your head for no reason. You will feel invisible in certain rooms just because you're a Black woman. You will be taken advantage of, or people will try and take advantage of you because you're a Black woman. And so one of the armors that we have to put on is our own self-care and self-healing. And all of these women really need therapy, and not just for 4 months. And I understand, and we laugh, but that was a moment for me where I felt uncomfortable, because it's almost like when someone says they're going to deal with addiction, and then they go in for 30 days and then they think that they're much better because they did 30 days, but it's a lifelong journey. And even my healing is a lifelong journey. But what I have learned so far at this juncture in my life is that I'm responsible for myself, and nobody owes me anything to walk around on eggshells because of my trauma. And I'm not talking about major traumas that, are very difficult to deal with. Because there is a level of compassion and grace that we should have for every individual, every human being. But I'm talking about, for example, if you don't like blueberries, and every time you see a blueberry, because when you were a little girl, you ran in the backyard and you stepped all over blueberries, and then your feet were just permanently stained blue. And so ever since then, you hate blueberries. You can't stand the sight of them. It repulses you. Guess what? If I like blueberry lemonade and I want it at my party, I'm not going to not have it because you have triggers around blueberries. You need to figure that out, and you need to be able to manage your triggers. And so I pray that these women they're getting help. And I hope that Bravo is doing something to assist them. Because one of the things that I also learned, because I also do professional development, I do workshops, I talk about diversity, equity, inclusion. I do a lot of deep dives into people understanding themselves and understanding their legacy burdens, understanding, how they get to where they are. And one of the things that I practice and I think is really important is you don't open up any can that you can't close back. And so for me, I'm concerned about Bryn because this can was open about what she shared and her bravery to share it and her courage to share it. But I'm wondering, was there any debriefing? Was there any, moment where she was able to decompress from that sharing and get some help that she needs? Because when you open up those kinds of wounds, you need to be in a space where someone can help you close them down, so you're not then walking around with an open wound with no bandage, no neosporin, no antiseptic, because then it makes you susceptible to other things and it becomes like this domino effect in your life. So I just wanted to talk about the trigger piece. I wanted to talk about how important it is for you to get mental health care. If you can spend all that money to look beautiful on the outside, damn it, you need to put some coins aside, but besides a copay, because sometimes a copay just ain't enough. You know what I mean? So if I have to choose between getting my hair braided, which is like $250, $300, or going to sit on somebody's couch, I'm going to sit on somebody's couch and I'll worry about my hair later. And so I just pray that as much as we work on our outside, that we work on the inside. This is Social Realities with Dr. Med. Like and subscribe. What do you think? And what are some of the ways in which you've handled your triggers? How have you healed through your process? And if not, what are some things you'd like to know about the healing process that perhaps I could provide some insight on? I'm not a psychologist, but I am a developmentalist. I'm an educator. And so I understand process and I understand that things take time and practice. So if you have any ideas or if you'd like to share your story, feel free to do so in the comment section. Deuces.